This is the key to quiz 1, and quiz 1 just covered topic 1. And so there are two problems, two equations, linear equations you have to solve. And here's the first one. So to solve this linear equation, this is a straightforward one. There are no fractions in here. You do see parentheses though. So there are two sets of parentheses. There's one here, and then there's one on this side. So you're going to end up using the distributive property. Now, don't make the mistake and do 2 plus 3 first and say that's 5 in the distributive 5. You know that's not correct. You have to multiply before you add. So you do still have to follow the order of operations. So if I distribute first here, and then the same thing here, I get this. I get 2 plus, and then 3 times 2x is 6x, and then 3 times a negative 1 is a negative 3. So everything inside this parentheses has to be multiplied by 3. So all these terms, these two terms, has to be multiplied by 3. And then I have minus 1, and then that's going to equal 2x. And then think about this. For this one here, if you need to put a 1 here, you would distribute a negative 1. Or you can think of this way. Subtracting this binomial means the same thing as adding the opposite of every term. So the opposite of x is a negative x, the opposite of 5 is a negative 5. But most students do, though, is they distribute the negative 1 through here. So negative 1 times x is a negative x, and a negative 1 times 5 is a negative 5. So the next step then is to combine like terms. So on the left side, the two, negative 3 and negative 1, are like terms. So I'm going to get 6x. Now 2 and a negative 3 is a negative 1. A negative 1 and another negative 1 is a negative 2. Equal, and then 2x minus x is x, and then minus 5. So now I'm going to bring all the variables one side, constants to the other. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract x from both sides. And so I get 6x minus x is 5x, and then minus 2 equal, this is 0, and then 0 minus 5 is a negative 5. Adding 2 to both sides, I'm going to get 5x equal, negative 5 and 2 is a negative 3, and divide both sides by 5, I get x to be negative 3/5. So there's your first, there's the solution to the first equation. The second one is this. So here's the second one. Okay, so in the second one we have fractions this time, and these fractions are, if you look at the denominators, those are integers, so those are a whole number, so that makes things easier. There are no variables in the denominator, so we don't have to worry about restrictions at all. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find the least common denominator of all of these denominators. So I have 3, 4, 2, and 6. So the least common denominator, the smallest number that 3, 4, 2, and 6 go into evenly, is 12. So once you find the least common denominator, now we're going to multiply to clear these denominators, to clear those fractions. We're going to multiply both sides by the least common denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this over. So I have x over 3 plus 2x minus 1 divided by 4 equal, and on this side, I'm going to leave a little space here, negative 3/2 plus x divided by 6. And then we'll put this side in parentheses and this side in parentheses. And so I'm going to multiply both sides by 12. Okay, so multiplying both sides by the least common denominator will entail, or will make sure that these denominators will become 1s, will become factors of 1s. And you'll see that in a little while. So now, since I introduced parentheses, now I've got to get rid of these parentheses using the distributive property. So let's go ahead and use the distributive property. So I'm going to go ahead and write in the step. So I have 12 times the first fraction, x over 3, plus 12 times the second, 2x minus 1 divided by 4, equal 12 times negative 3/2 plus 12 times x divided by 6. Now let's go ahead and reduce. Remember, the whole point of multiplying all of these terms right here, all those terms by 12, is to get these denominators to be 1s, to be factors of 1s. So 3 into 3 is 1, 3 into 12 is 4. 4 into 4 is 1, 4 into 12 is 3. 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 12 is 6. You see we're getting factors of 1s in their place. 6 into 6 is 1, 6 into 12 is 2. Now let's go ahead and simplify and make each of these terms a little bit easier to look at. So 4 times x is 4x. So that one's easy. Now over here, what I'm going to do first, because if you don't do what I'm about to do, some of you will make a mistake. But I want you to notice that this is plus 3 times this expression. So what you may want to do is do this first. So it's 3 times, in parentheses, put 2x minus 1, because 3 is going to be multiplied through here. So every term here is going to have to be multiplied by 3. So make sure you think like this that I just wrote down. Equal, and then 6 times a negative 3 is a negative 18, and then plus 2 times x is 2x. Now stay out parentheses, so let's go ahead and distribute here again. So I get 4x plus 6x minus, and then 3 times negative 1 is a negative 3, equal, and then negative 18 plus 2x. Combining like terms, 4x plus 6x is 10x minus 3, equal, a negative 18 plus 2x. All right, so let's bring all the variables to one side, constants to the other. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. So 10x minus 2x is 8x, equal, minus 3, equal, and then that's 0, a negative 18. Now adding 3 to both sides and combining like terms, negative 3 and 3 is 0. I get 8x is equal to negative 15. Negative 18 and 3 is a negative 15. And then finally, dividing both sides by 8, 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1 times x is x. I found my solution. So my solution is negative 15 eighths. And so that's the solution. Negative 15 eighths is a solution to this linear equation. And so that is the key to the 2 problems on quiz number 1.